Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. If you're listening to on any of our audio platforms, please download this episode and more episodes, and please leave a 5-star rating and some comments if you like them. I'm very excited to welcome this incredible person on today. She began as a briefcase model on NBC's Deal or No Deal, but however, she's the creator and founder of World Animal News and also is the president and founder of Peace for Animals. This award-winning filmmaker has also created 2 documentaries, Kill Me Shelter and Why on Earth. So please help me welcome Katie Cleary to the podcast.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me on.
Katie, it's a privilege to have you. Thank you so much for taking time to schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Of course, absolutely. Absolutely.
Alrighty, Katie. So when did you get interested in performing, and how did that passion evolve into desire to enter the entertainment industry?
Well, I began when I was about 11 years old. So in Chicago with my mom. And, she never wanted me to get involved in modeling and acting. She just thought it was really tough business and you've got to have thick skin. So I thought, I'm going to do it anyways. The first thing I did was walk into Elite Models, and I was young at that time. And, they signed me to their kids division, Stewart Talent, in Chicago. So that's how it all began. And, I started modeling, 11 to, I retired when I was about 35. So, and really dove into the animal welfare work. But my passion was always animals and raising awareness for endangered species, specifically big cats. And now we've graduated to rhinos and elephants and orangutans and all the threatened species around the world.
And you do incredible work in your animal activism, which we'll get to in a minute. But first, I would love to, many of my audience might recognize you from the opportunity from starring on NBC's Deal or No Deal as one of the iconic briefcase models. So, first of all, how did you hear about this position, and what were some of your favorite memories working on this set of this iconic game show?
Well, it was actually amazing. I was in college and I actually auditioned for Top Model. That was the first thing I did, the first big thing I did. So I was on Top Model the first season, and then I met this amazing girl, that's still a friend of mine today, Lindsay Klubine, who you might know, who's 26 on Deal or No Deal, and she said, you have to move out to LA. If you really want to dive into this business, move out to LA and give it a shot. And literally 3 days into moving out to LA, I walked into an agency and they said, there's a show called Deal or No Deal. Would you like to audition? So I went into the audition, and actually Lindsay had said, that she's going to possibly be on, the first season. And so she said they're looking for girls as well. So went into the audition. They asked me what I had done before. So they wanted, some previous experience. I said, I did Top Model. And they said, a couple of days later, they said, you're hired. So that's how it happened. And they were looking for personality, of course, because, the girls, have to engage the audience and there's a lot of interviews afterwards, and it's a big stepping stone for us. It wasn't just opening a briefcase and being a part of a game show for 4 years. It was really a lot went into it. We went on Oprah, we were on, so many other shows. I can't even, I can't even remember half of them, but it was an experience.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing. You guys are so much a part of game show moments, like no matter the biggest lows of the defeat to the biggest wins in game show history. And seriously, the iconic models entrance is probably one of the most iconic, is always like the iconic entrances of a game show. So it was really cool seeing you work with Howie and try to make people's dreams come true, and unfortunately make some of their nightmares come true as well.
Gosh, yeah. I had the million several times. I think somebody picked it once, but 4 years was a great run for Deal or No Deal on primetime, and it was great working with Howie and all the girls, and and starting out on Top Model was also amazing. So that kind of started me in entertainment, leading me to do different TV shows and movies and campaigns and you name it. Yeah, we did it all.
Awesome. And I got to say, those two are wonderful stepping stones. But also the thing is, you just alluded to it, and you also had the opportunity to work on several iconic TV shows of the 2000s to 2010s. I'm talking about American Housewife, Chuck, How to Get Away with Murder, Rules of Engagement, and 2.5 Men. So what were some of the lessons that you learned from these experiences that helped you grow as a performer?
Well, honestly, it's just working with different people and personalities and being able to gain experience on set. I think that was key in order to lead me to what I'm doing today is directing and producing documentaries, to help animals around the world. So it really gave me that experience and just to meet some amazing people that share the same passion as me as well. There's some great celebrities that are using their platform for the greater good. And that's really what my focus is now. I feel like entertainment can be it can be daunting. It's a tough industry, and if you can use that to help people, animals, the planet, for a greater purpose, I think that's really the key. I really respect people that and celebrities in the business that do that.
And that brings me to my next question. So I would love to learn about how you became the creator and founder of World Animal News and also the founding Peace for Animals and how these organizations started.
Well, it was about 2012, and I just had this epiphany that I needed to do something more that had to do with my passion. So I thought, no one's ever founded a news network for animals. Maybe I should start World Animal News. It just was the first thing that popped into my head. And then I wanted to start a charity as well for endangered species, and started with big cats and tiger conservation. So my passion growing up was big cats. So I started Peace for Animals around the same time. And then, it was really an epiphany I had one morning. I have a tremendous faith in God and Jesus. And I thought, you know what, I have to take these messages seriously. And I get them, not all the time, but often. And sometimes we don't listen to those little messages, but it's important to listen to them, especially when I started in 2012. So, I thought, why don't I do a documentary? And so I used my savings from a commercial that I did for Proactive that kept airing for 7 years, and
Oh,
I
wow.
individuals to produce Give Me Shelter, and then sold it to Netflix in 2015. So that was a big chance. Everyone thought, "Wow, I cannot believe you're using your savings to do this. Why are you doing this? It's a mistake." And I said, "No." I said, "I have to trust my gut. This is for a greater purpose. It's for the animals, and this story needs to be told." So it took me about 3 years to produce and write Give Me Shelter, and then Netflix picked it up. It was great.
Which is wonderful. And next year marks the 10th anniversary of the Netflix documentary, and not to mention award-winning Netflix documentary. So,
Yes.
what is Give Me Shelter's legacy, in your opinion?
I would say, gosh, that's a tough one. That's a good question. I would say, oh gosh, because it's my first documentary, it just shows that, if you take chances that are to benefit something greater than yourself, they usually work out. If it's like I said, if it's for the light, if it's for something positive, if it's to help a cause, or whatever the cause may be. My cause being animals. Um, I feel like taking chances and doing things for the right reasons uh, is what I learned. And I'm going to continue to do that, just like I'm doing with the wolf documentary, Protectors of the Wild.
Oh, nice. We'll get to the wolf documentary in a minute. I would like to talk to you about Why on Earth,
Yeah.
because your latest documentary, Why on Earth, features a global travel adventure that features the talents of it's been an amazing ensemble you assembled. John Sally, Shannon Elizabeth, one of my all-time favorite actresses, Kristen Bauer, Maggie Hugh, and of course the legendary Clint Eastwood. So, how did you assemble that team together?
Honestly, it's just through, my friends and connections in the entertainment business. And like I said, it's great growing up in an industry that also, has people that share the same passion as me. So I just asked my friends to be involved, and they said yes. And a lot of them helped us on pass legislation, the Cruelty Free Cosmetics Act in California, which is an amazing triumph that we, highlighted in the documentary. A lot of them, are plant-based advocates. They're conservationists. They love, their passion is to protect endangered species, rescue dogs and cats from shelters, and find them homes. I mean, you name it. We kind of cover it all in Why on Earth. And then I asked, Clint Eastwood's daughter, Allison, who's a friend of mine, who started Eastwood Ranch around the same time I started Peace for Animals. And I asked her, would your dad want to be involved and interviewed in the second documentary? And she said, yeah, I think so. So we went up to the ranch, and he gave us, many hours of his time, and it was great. It was right before the pandemic hit, and we're so blessed that he said yes to be in the film. So Yeah.
And to have that kind of empowerment, to have someone at the caliber like Mr. Eastwood and everyone else's caliber as well, because must have been amazing to film and to prepare all these interviews and talks with them and showcase their work and showcase them in action.
It was incredible, and I think that I think everybody in the film would probably be they're also involved in entertainment, of course, but I think like me, their main passion is animals. So that you get to do the best of both worlds. You get to have fun and act and host and model and do all those things, and you get to be a voice for the voiceless. So it's a win-win.
So this adventure takes the viewers around the world. So what were some of the most interesting parts of filming on these different continents?
It was very challenging. I would say Africa was probably the most challenging, and Borneo and Sumatra, because you're in the wild. You're with these animals. You're trekking through the forests. You're hoping that you don't get trampled by an elephant or or a rhino. But it's just you're putting yourself at risk, and but calculated risk, making sure that, we're surrounded by a good team. We've got people looking out for us. So I would say that was, I think that was the hardest part of making those documentaries is it's very tough on your body if you're not used to it. You're just, you're not in your usual routine. So you're really having to kind of, not rough it all the time, but rough it sometimes. And, there's a couple times where I'm like, oh gosh, I hope I make it back because, yes, we're like in a boat paddling 2.5 hours up a river with crocodiles all around us and no reception and, yeah, staying in little cabins in the middle of nowhere. And there's wild animals all around. So, but it's worth it because that's the way you have to be immersed in it in order to tell the right story, to engage audiences, to help save these animals.
And not only, but here's the thing, there is a big plus side to this, is that you get to see these magnificent creatures in the wild and like some of them up close. So
Mhm.
what was your and your crew's reaction when you were able to see these creatures up close and personal?
Well, I would say starting with elephants in Kenya, all the orphan elephants that were orphaned because of the ivory trade. Their parents were killed for something that has no medicinal purpose, let alone to make little elephant trinkets and sell them to the East, in China. It's heartbreaking. And this is just getting worse, and especially around COVID, there was no eyes on the ground because there was no tourism. So when there's no tourism and there's no eyes on the ground, then the poachers act. And so a lot of elephants and rhinos were killed. So elephant ivory is made out of the same thing as your teeth. Basically, it's just a fancy name. And rhino horn is made out of the same thing as your fingernails. So with rhino horn specifically, there's no medicinal purpose, but they use it for ancient Chinese medicine. It's just heartbreaking. And you know, the fact that these animals are orphaned and these people are dedicating their lives, these heroes on the ground are dedicating their lives to saving them from extinction is, you know, it's the most heroic thing. Sorry, it's the most heroic thing that I have ever witnessed, truly, to see these baby elephants running towards us because their keepers have a bottle, a bottle of milk for them. And these elephants think that the keepers are their parents. They have to stay with them 24 hours a day for years on end because that's what a mother elephant would do. So it's just, it's heartbreaking to me that, we have to be in the situation. These heroes on the ground have to be in the situation. They shouldn't be. I mean, their mothers should be taking care of, these elephants, not humans, right? But we have to step in because of all the harm that we've done to our planet and each other and the animals. So I respect them, and that was the most impactful thing I would see. Seeing these baby elephants run up and being right behind their keepers, and each of them holds a bottle with their trunk. I mean, I was in awe. I started crying. And then another impactful moment would probably be being at Sudan's grave, the last northern male white rhino on the planet. There's only two females left, but they're functionally extinct as a species because there's no males left, sadly, to keep the species going. So to be at his grave and see the damage that we've done to these species that have been here for millions of years, it really touched my heart and it broke my heart at the same time. But if you guys watch Why on Earth, you'll see how emotional it is. Not graphic, I would say. We wanted people to stick with the film to continue to watch it. So, it really educates the viewers around the world, that there's more out there that we need to raise awareness for and be advocates for.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to talk to you about are there any similarities and differences between Why on Earth or Give Me Shelter, like how you went about like the creation process for each of them?
Yeah, so Give Me Shelter, like I said, I used my savings to do it. So I didn't have a budget. So I just kind of went along and filmed, a lot of the interviews. It's interview based because we weren't able to travel because of the funding. So I would say Why on Earth, the new one with Clint Eastwood, we had the funding through my charities. So we were able to travel to Kenya and Zimbabwe, South Africa, and throughout Indonesia and Mexico to capture these animals in the wild. So Why on Earth is like a follow-up of Give Me Shelter, the first film, covering shark finning, illegal wildlife trafficking, legislation to help animals around the world, the ivory trade, the rhino horn trade, deforestation, the plant-based movement. We cover everything.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Have you guys thought about what comes next? For example, have you thought about going to Australia or Thailand or some other cultures that have, or Siberia, because especially with some of their animals have been getting closer to extinction?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, I literally just got back from filming my wolf documentary. So like I said, I have tremendous faith in God and Jesus, and so I literally prayed. I thought, what is the next documentary? I think it needs to be about one species now because we've covered everything else. So I said, what's the species that is most not only under threat but most vilified, that we need to change the narrative for, that's being hunted to near extinction in the U.S. There's only an estimated 5 to 7,000 wolves in the continuing United States, not including Alaska. So, got asked to be a part of the Relist Wolves campaign 3 years ago. So Peace for Animals has been a part of that to relist wolves on the endangered species list in the Northern Rockies, where they're not protected. And now we just found out that they want to delist wolves and take them off the endangered species list in 48 states in the U.S., which is heartbreaking. So we're fighting that. So being a part of this Relist Wolves Coalition is really how I started. And before that, the day before that, I went into a store and I saw this wolf ring. And I thought, I need to buy this wolf ring. And so I thought it was just so iconic having this wolf ring that, I've been wearing for 3 years. And then the next day getting a call about the Relist Wolves Coalition. I thought that's got to be a sign that the next documentary is Protectors of the Wild about wolves.
And that's incredible. That's incredible. I know we got to start slowly winding down our conversation, but how can my listeners or my viewers get involved with Peace for Animals or with World Animals Now?
Yeah, so World Animal News, we do breaking news stories every single day, throughout the world. So on legislation, the plant-based movement, endangered species, you name it, farm animals, adopting, not shopping, rescuing animals from difficult situations. So we cover it all. And you can go to worldanimalnews.com or follow us on Instagram and throughout, our social media platforms. And we'll bring you the latest breaking news. And then Peace for Animals, if you would like to donate to Peace for Animals, that's probably what we need most help with now to finish our wolf documentary. So visit peace4animals.net and look out and watch Why on Earth, Give Me Shelter, and look out for Protectors of the Wild.
Awesome. And Katie, where can they find you as well on social media?
Yeah, you could find me on Instagram at Katie Cleary 11 and Twitter and Facebook as well.
Awesome. So, guys, have you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast? Visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Want to know what's currently going on with America's Got Talent? Want to find out who won Masked Singer Season 12? Want to find more interviews and also my music reviews? Visit the blog that started it all, jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Katie, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talking with me today. And I really enjoyed learning about your cause. And I really hope that people him and help support our endangered species on this planet.
Oh, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katie. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.